People will follow you within that 8 seconds of clicking on your account, but before they even look through your content.
If it's optimized in the right way.
Hey guys, it's Matt Haycox here, and I've got today with me a friend and colleague, a guy called Chris Taylor. Chris is from a business called Instant Impact, and Chris is a real Instagram expert, not just Instagram, but social media in general, but he's got a very specific focus on Insta. However, a lot of the techniques and tactics that he uses and he teaches are applicable across all social platforms. So we're doing what I've never actually done this before, so if you guys watch my content, you'll see I often interview experts and celebrities, but it's more, I guess it's more quick interviews and deep thought insights to them. You know, we've never done what I'd consider a masterclass, and this is what we've got set up today. You know, we've got the blackboard. It's like going back to school. We've got the teacher. We've got the blackboard, and we're also just so you know what's going on. We're doing this as a live stream on Facebook as well. So hopefully we're going to get a bit of interaction from people watching. They can ask some real questions, and actually live. We can put Chris on the spot. Keep him on his toes and find out if his tactics really work. So I hope you enjoy it. You definitely. I've known Chris. I know some of the stuff he does. I've implemented some of the stuff it does, and it really, really does work. And it works fast. So I hope you guys enjoy this and listen away.
Louis Vuitton filter. I know. Filters are nice there, mate. They work, mate. They work. I teach this in a very simple way. I'm like to think I'm known for trying to keep things as simple as possible so anybody can do them. It's the way that I learned as a kid. It's the way that I now like to teach people. So we do it in three main ways. The first way is basically understanding how to find your niche and how you target your audience, identify where they are, which we'll cover. The second step then goes into content. So what content should we actually be creating? What's going to generate results? What do our audience actually want to see? So we'll cover how we identify that and how that works and the powers of it. And then the third thing is then the bit that kind of ties it all together, because there's no point creating content, there's no point growing your following if you're not going to get a back end result from it. So how you then build a brand which is going to enable you to monetize off the back end. So really, I always like to implement some stories and weave in and out on how I've used it and how that works to kind of add the context as we've spoken about. But I know you'll always come up with some questions as we go, mate. So feel free to pull them apart and ask to get some more clarity on it.
Are we using the whiteboard?
We will be as we go. I think the primary part of it all really, and the basis of the foundations of Instagram, the one thing we're using social media for. Now, it's not to build followers. It's not to generate thousands and thousands of pounds. It's ultimately to give people an opportunity to find out who we are. And the way that we do that is through one word, and that's engagement. You'll hear it a lot. It's the likes, the comments, the shares, the messages that you receive. It's your community engaging with you and trying to build a relationship with you. Now,
all the things that nobody's doing.
Correct.
and,
yeah, exactly.
and I guess a lot of the people watching this, and myself has historically been guilty of this. You know, we look at the the influencers out there. The people that we've got. We see with 200,000, 500,000 followers. But I can tell you, I'm Chris will as well. We've both met these people from different contexts. But you show me 10 influencers with 500,000 follower base each, and I'll show you 10 broke people. Yeah. Because people watching this are probably think that these guys I've got the holy grail for never ending making money. But the reality is, the follower count just doesn't matter. Okay, to a degree it matters, but the interaction, the engagement, and the monetization of those people is what is key. And if you've got 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, really loyal, really engaged people who want your product and are going to spend money with you, believe me, they are so much more valuable to you than 500,000 followers and a blue tick. Just because you've walked out of a villa or come up an island or whatever it may be. So
it is so true. Like we see a lot of different influencers and celebrities now that come into our agency and do well or don't do so well because they're not willing to change this number one thing, and that's actually being known for something. Now that one thing normally should be the thing that you're eventually going to be able to monetize from. So niching into a particular profile or a particular message that you're trying to deliver is the number one step that you need to do. So when people come to your Instagram profile, you will see on your profiles now. So if you've got an Instagram account, then this is the time for it to open it up, because if you do and click onto the bottom right hand corner, you'll see like an emoji type face profile shape. Now, when you go onto that, this is what people see when they come onto your profile. So when they see your username, they'll click onto it and they'll be taken to your homepage. Now, the number one mistake that people make is the fact that they don't tell people, they don't give them the hook as to what it is that they do and how they can help people. So you've got a number of different ways that you can do it. Your username is very important. A lot of people will put their business name on there or their personal name. Like, that's fine. Like, trying to get your personal name into your profile is great.
You're saying you shouldn't be using Spanky Pants 123?
Probably avoid Spanky Pants 123. Yeah, the random ones with lots of numbers on, it just doesn't work. You want to try and make it as specific as you possibly can to what it is that you do.
I can see a few rebrands coming out there. Yeah?
All right, that'll be taken now, Spanky Pants 123. People will be buying that domain and everything. And also, like, the way that it works is you're most likely not going to be able to get your first name and surname together. Now, that's fine, not a problem with that. That's totally cool. What you want to try and do is try and get it as close to it as you possibly can. And the best way to then add something on to get your username.
While you're talking, I'm going to make some notes on this for guys at home. But
you go for it. But it's adding in your niche, so what it is that you do. So mine for a long time was Chris Taylor Airbnb. It's now Chris Taylor Ideal. It's my business name at the end of it. There's lots of different ways that you can incorporate your niche into there. You can add property to the end if you're in the property industry. If you're looking at wealth stuff, you can add wealth to it. So identify what your niche is and then add that to your username to be able to give you the opportunity to then be found when people type in for those sorts of words. So your username is very, very important. It's the foundation of where people are first going to be able to find you. So pick something which people are going to search to try and find you. It's your unique identifier. The second thing is then what we call the account name. Now, it's completely different to your username, and normally, if you've not changed it before...
This is your @ handle.
So this is the second part to it. So your @ handle is your login,
so
your username.
That's what we've just been talking about.
Exactly that, exactly. Your account name is basically, if you've not changed it ever before, go onto your homepage and click Edit Profile. On Edit Profile, you will see username, which is your handle, and you'll see account name. Your account name, if you've never changed it before, would be Matt Haycox.
Yeah.
Now, what people don't realise is the fact that that is actually SEOable.
Okay.
So when we're looking to actually do this for clients.
So what's yours?
So mine is currently Instagram coach and consultant.
Okay.
So if people type in Instagram, go and try it now. You can go and type in Chris Taylor Ideal and I'll come up, or you can type in Instagram. Now, if I've done my job correctly, I should be the first one that comes up.
Okay.
Because I've got that in there. We've got some probably mutual connections, which will mean that if people type in Instagram, I'm the person that appears.
Can I pull mine up while we're talking? I don't know. I can't use my phone because it's on there, but you pull me up.
So let's have a look. So what was yours?
THE Matt Haycox.
So the Matt Haycox. So you're currently Matt Haycox. Okay.
So we're talking about the...
So you've got the account name there. So this is your username.
Okay.
Now the username is at the top of your phone if you go onto Instagram on your profile page, and the account name
Can we show this, Calvin?
is below your profile photo. So you will see on there, now you might be able to see it in the camera.
You can see on there.
You will see that if it focuses, so below your profile photo, there'll most likely be your name. Now what you want to try and do, where possible, is pick 3 keywords that people are going to search to try and find whatever it is that you do. So Instagram coach and consultant. Now don't get me wrong, that's 4 words. Okay, so don't pick me up on that. I know someone probably will. But it basically means if people type in Instagram coach, I'm looking for Chris Taylor to then appear at the top of that profile. So
where I have entrepreneur, that's the Insta insisted bit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. So you're on what we call a professional account.
Right.
So when you first open up, if you've never done this before, now you will automatically default to a personal account. Now we can touch on professional and personal in a bit more detail. However, you're on what we call a professional account. So it'll be connected most likely to your Facebook page, and you're technically treating your personal brand as a business. So you'll be labelled on there as entrepreneur. Now, what I would look to do...
Can I just ask, because I'm sure this is something people at home want to know as well. What are the real differences between a personal page and a business page? Is it just that it gives you more analytical ability on a business? Because there's no cost, there's no downside.
Yeah, no, not at all. So it's a great question, actually.
So everybody watching this should move to a business profile.
Should move to a business profile, yeah. Like it's everyone's kind of afraid to do it because, well, this is the one reason why people like to say hidden on social media. They like to do the one thing that you really shouldn't do, and that's hide from it, because it's everywhere now. It's not going anywhere, it's here to stay. So if you're a private account and you want to switch to a business page, you can't stay private. You have to switch to an open account.
Can you switch back?
You can, yeah, you can definitely can. But the two main the things it gives you, so when you go to switch to a professional account, it gives you two options. You can switch to a creator, or you can switch to a business profile. Okay. Now, a creator was made for influencers. Basically gives them an opportunity to be able to sell products directly on their page. Okay. That was why a creator account was born. It was to help influencers stand out and actually position them in a way where they can actually directly sell products when they're working with brands.
And that's when you have, I mean, I don't have a shop on mine, but that's when you have a fourth box on there, isn't it?
Yeah, you can have the shop function on there as well. I can actually show you a way to get that anyway, and be able to change that contact button to whatever it is. It could be like book here or whatever.
Oh no, I meant this bit across there.
Oh, the top, yeah, exactly that. So it switches. But the business account is where I spend my time. So if you want to auto schedule your posts, you have to be a business account. If you want Instagram Insights, which is the main reason why you should change, to be able to get the analytics on your account, then you should switch to a professional business account. And it just gives you the opportunity to gain data. So, and actually the most important thing here is, on social media, data is king. Like, you need to understand what works, what doesn't work, where your audience is from, what time they're online. And we'll talk about content and the reasons why that's so important a bit later on. But really, it's just about understanding that from the opportunity that's available from the Instagram Insights, it's a complete no-brainer to be a business account, technically.
Okay.
So going back to it, your account name is SEOable. You want to be picking 3 keywords that basically best summarize what it is that you do. Now, you're a funding expert from memory, right? That's what you're known for. So yours could be, now funding is one word that you could particularly use. I think that's quite good. Now, there's probably better words that people are going to be searching for, which are going to be more common. Now, one thing that's quite a good trick to do, and what we like to do, is think of a problem that you solve. And from there, go in a bit deeper. So rather than Instagram coach consultant, I could potentially look at...
I help
So
people.
Marketing tips. Yeah. It could be things that people are looking for help on. Like, we were working with a dentist only about 2 months ago. And we trialed their account name with lots of different things, like Northampton dentist, as they were, because that was where they were based. Flipping orthodontist type work. But actually it was Fix My Teeth. That's the account name. Something really, really simple. But now that's an example, like a very vague example of what we've used. We trialed so many different ones, but actually problems that people were solving. So when you now do, and this is so much more common now, if you have a particular problem and you want to know the answer, what website or what website do you tend to go to find the answer? Google, right? You type it in. Now, the one thing that I love, and the difference between your social media profile and Google, is the fact that when you do it on Google, probably 6 out of the 10 URLs that you're given are someone trying to sell you the answer. 4 of them are normally the informational pieces which you can get for free. Now, what I love, and this is when a business perspective comes in, as a business, that's kind of useless to us, really. Like, there's only our competitors selling. We can't really find the data. However, on social media, people now are not afraid to moan. People moan about their problems online. They moan about bad service. They moan about the crap food that they've had. They moan about the crappy dentist that they've been to. We've moaned recently about the hotel that we're staying in on social media. Like, people like to criticise. Now, when people are putting content out there, and we'll talk about searching for your ideal market in a second, but this ties in really nicely to the SEO work on there, is that actually people are now posting about a problem. And if you can actually then go in and find them talking about the problem, as a business, it's what we then like to call our flipping hot lead, because what we can then do is go in, give them the solution and the answer to make sure that when they then next have that problem or next need that service, we're the people that they then come to. So it gives us an endless opportunity to find people that are talking about the issues that we solve. So when you're looking at your account name, think about a problem that you solve and use that. Pick 3 to 4 keywords and nail it in there.
And just to be clear again, because this is the bold bit.
Yes, it is. Yeah, right. The first bit underneath your profile photo, on there.
So if I was to change mine from my name, at what point would I then put my name?
Your name is currently in the Matt Haycox.
No, but so what I mean is, if I actually wanted to put just the name Matt Haycox on there, so you're saying during this bold bit here, we'd put the keywords that we want to be SEO'd on, but then maybe on the next one I could put my actual name, I could put my real name, in case people don't know who I am.
Yeah, exactly that. So what we like to use is like the perfect combination of your name in your username. So when people search for that, you automatically come up. And then in your account name, you then have your 3 keywords. And then if you want to then elaborate that in your bio, you're more than welcome to.
So while we're doing this, I'm going to pull up Harley's account, my horse riding daughter, who's desperate for Instagram growth. So she's on. So that's where Harley Haycox. So that's where she wants to be putting riding style things to search on.
100%.
And she's saying sport, so she's not a business account, is she?
Yes, she is. She should be set up as a business account there. She's just chosen sports as her category.
Okay.
But I think the most important thing with Harley's account there, is that it's set up in a very good way. Like she's got the username. I think that's very, very powerful. People will search it; they'll be able to find her from that.
You can change your username, can't you?
You can. It's your unique identifier, and there can only be one of you online on Instagram. What I mean is you can change it.
Yeah, because she changed that recently from HQ Equine or something to.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, I mean, you can change that. I'd much prefer that compared to what it was before, as you've just said there. And then the best thing about it is the fact that she immediately, as you go to her profile, she tells you what it is that she does. Okay. Now, when you're in the expert space that I'm in, I like to work with companies and experts to help them position their profiles in the right way. We structure their bios in a particular way because, on average, when someone clicks onto your Instagram profile, you have around 8 seconds to convince them to hit the follow button. Now, content does not give you the time to do that because you've got so much content normally on your profile. By the time they've clicked into a couple of pieces, they're bored and they've moved off.
So you're saying people will follow you within that 8 seconds of clicking on your account, but before they even look through your content?
If it's optimized in the right way. Because what you're enabled to do with the way that you structure your bio layout is be able to give them a reason that you tell them what it is that you do, a key headline of what it is that you do. Okay. You tell them then the most important thing that you should have in your bio is how you can help them. Because really our social media profiles, and that goes for any social media profile like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you're using, the most important thing to remember is that your profile isn't for you. It's for the audience that are following you. So we need to get rid of the selfish aspects of hiding how we can help people. And what we want to do is embrace it and go, you know what? Like I deliver a service, I can help people do certain things. And what I've got to do is make sure that whenever they come onto any of my profiles, within that first 8 seconds, they know exactly what it is and they know how I can do it. And then what we then do is within the bio structure is we have a call to action at the bottom. Now you'll notice on Instagram you only get one website link, so you want to make the most of that, and we'll talk about that in communication and lead gen at the end. However, what you want to do is very similar to how Harley's got that there with the YouTube with the 2 arrows pointing down. Now that's a kind of a touch upon a call to action, but as human beings, now especially online, and you'll see this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Now that's the thing that most popular YouTubers, the biggest ones out there, will do that on every video. Yeah. Because as humans, if we're not told to do something, we won't do it. So when we're telling people to, when we want people to click a link, we need to tell them to click the link. So we will naturally have, I help people go from 0 to 6-figure businesses using Instagram, to build 0 to 6-figure businesses using Instagram. Click here to find out how. What's the first thing they're going to do as soon as they hit it? They're going to hit the link to find out how on earth they can do it. We then build the lead gen machine, which again, we'll go more detail on as we go. But basically, we're looking to capture their details because social media, if we don't capture information, if our account suddenly gets taken away and we've got 500,000 followers, or we get our account banned for any reason, which happens a lot more than you realize these days, you lose all that data. So every follower that you get, especially if you're treating this in a business perspective, you want to be gaining that data, capturing it and putting it into a database where you control the data. So that's the process that we go through. So your profile optimization all comes around the niche that you choose. So if you don't own and be known for one particular thing, you'll end up confusing your audience and they'll have no reason to follow you, so your account won't grow. Okay. So the number one thing that anyone can do is choose a niche and own it and nail it and just give it time. So give it the 6 to 12 months that we did to be known for something. Build an audience up where you are simply educating them on what you do or telling them what it is that you do, document what you do, and then watch how the traction then grows when you apply the different strategies that we're going to go through today. Because it's vital. If you're not known for one thing, none of this stuff works.
And one of my layman's top tips for everyone as well, if you're going to write and lay out all the information that Chris is talking about, if you want to make it done in a pretty format, go onto your iPhone. I mean, I've only got an iPhone, but I guess it works on a Samsung or whatever as well, and write your profile out in notes.
Yes. 100%.
Because I didn't do this for about a year, and it was all over the place. It was actually in a Lewis Howes Masterclass or something I watched, and this was one of the first tips. So write out your profile in the notes section of your iPhone, whatever you're using. You can then put emojis in there, do all the prettification of it, then copy and paste it as a single block, or cut it, and then go and paste it into your Instagram profile as a single block. But obviously, what's most important from an SEO perspective, obviously Chris is talking about, is what you're actually putting in there. But putting it in aside, aesthetics is important to us all. So if you want to make it prettified, lay it out like that in your notes.
Definitely. So yeah, number one thing, choose your niche. First step. Apart from obviously get your Instagram account set up, but choose something that you want to be known for. And this stuff applies to any social media platform. Like, you just need to get an understanding and a bit of clarity around what it is you want to be known for. From there, you can then start to do step number 2. And that's identifying who your target market is. So what message you want to deliver, and then who actually it is that's going to listen. Because people now, naturally, will set up their account, and then they'll just go start posting content. But they'll be posting content which actually has no benefit to them, because they're not thinking about the number one reason why we're using it, and that's to actually have a result, have an outcome that's actually going to enable us to move forward. So being able to identify who your target market is was the number one thing for us. So what we did, especially when we started the training side of it rather than the property, if we go back, we do it very, very differently, but we'll use the Instagram training as a way. We need to think about who our ideal customer is, who we're going to have the biggest impact on with the strategies that we teach. So we started to think of all the different businesses, all the different business types, the people, the entrepreneurs, the experts that we can help. And this can apply to any business. It's just a typical marketing exercise, defining who your avatar is. So what we like to do, and I'm going to talk about the different aspects of Instagram in a second, but you want to think of 5 key, job roles, 5 key business types, which your service or your product can help. So with Instagram, we picked the expert space as the one spot that we wanted to hit, mainly because that was part of the community that we were in. So we knew that it didn't matter what industry or what kind of topic people were talking about. If they were an expert, they could apply these strategies and they could make money. So that was our number one priority. It was like, where do experts hang out? So we started to think of 2 things. We've got our target market, experts are our target market. Now we look at 2 different areas of Instagram to be able to identify where those people then kind of, follow what they do. And that's accounts. So we were looking for competitor accounts that were talking about Instagram training as an example. So what I'm teaching you here is basically how you can steal your competitor's audience, how you can steal their customers if you have a product or service which is better than what they provide. So let's take the Hilton Hotel. Now, I don't know if we can say brands in here, but we're sitting in one, so let's do it. Now, the Hilton Hotel here has a number of hotels, a number of competitors around the area. Each profile has its own specific area for their hotel. So around here, now I don't know off the top of my head what's around here, but there's most likely going to be a Holiday Inn, a Premier Inn, a Marriott, and probably an Ibis. And then there's probably another market one around here somewhere. Now, all of those will have social media profiles. And let's be honest, the people that are going to be following those accounts, engaging in their content, are going to be people that have stayed here. They'll be tagging the place in, taking photos of them staying in these certain places, because that's what we do. We take a picture of the food as we're around. So you can see where your competitor's audience are currently sitting. So you can go in, find the Marriott in Birmingham, and you can sit and see who's following them. Now, a lot of people will go through and they'll go click into their followers and they'll start connecting with those people. It's not what we do. We go into the tagged photos. Okay. Now, the tagged photos are where our customers who have stayed there before will be tagging in when they've been there. Now, from a hotel industry, you can imagine running an Airbnb business, this enabled us to completely transform the way that we generated leads. So what we used to do is go into those tagged photos, see our customers saying how they've stayed in this place and they have enjoyed it or they haven't enjoyed it. And then all we'd simply do is connect with them, so follow them, and send them an introduction message. So we could start doing that at mass volume. And what that enabled us to do was get our account, our username, in front of these people, grabbing their attention. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but you'll get a notification come through when you get a new follower or a new message. First thing you do, when you don't even know who it is, you click on it. And what you then do is, if you've optimized your profile in the right way, they see it and they go, oh, right, I didn't realize they had that there. And you've immediately done the one thing that you need to do on social, grab people's attention, tell them what you do. And then the biggest thing then, you tell them how you can help. So if you've got alternative accommodation, save 10% on hotel prices in your call to action, click here to find out how. What you're going to be able to do, if you can provide a better product and a better service, be able to hunt and steal your competition's audience by doing the one thing that people don't do. And that's secret number 3 as we come through this evening. But being able to go through that.
Let me ask you a question there then, because again, I know this is something I was guilty of in the beginning, and I'm sure other people look at as well. Is there's almost this ego barrier of followers versus following, and I guess people think that they want to go and achieve a lot of followers. Almost with the minimum number of people that they're following, from an ego perspective, and look like an influencer or whatever it may be. But I take it we're saying that's almost lunacy, and there's no ratios or metrics or anything like that. It's purely about connections, and if that means you're following 5,000 people and only being followed by 3,000, but you're interacting, and you're doing business with those people, that is the key metric. That's the economics that matter here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point actually, because there is. So I was reading I read quarterly reports from Facebook and Instagram every time that they're released, and one of the things that recently came out is you want to be following less than 3,000 people. Okay, so this is an important concept to go into, and I'll explain why. Now, because of the dark activity that goes on online, the follow unfollow method is very well known in social media if you've been using it at all in the past. Now, Instagram have been trying to crack down on it. They've been trying to stop people being able to carry out mass volume of actions. Now, they couldn't really do that. They've got some AI now that really has cracked down on it massively, because we used to run those strategies, like it worked. Now, the difference with the way that you have to work it now is they've basically put a cap. So if you've now following more than 3,000 people, now it's come on their report. How often they change these things is like every week, so it does change. But I like to use 3,000 as like an average number to stay down below, because they basically classify you as what is known in the industry in the dark markets as a bot account. Okay. So carrying out inhuman activity with the volume, because in essence, there's only so much kind of timeline space for you to be able to see certain people's content. Now, to be able to see 3,000 people's worth of content, they know that that's a lot of people to follow, and they've just plucked a number out of thin air. Like, again, this might not be completely 100% accurate. However, they've basically picked a number, and this number changes all the time, where if you have over a certain amount of people that you're following, it will harm your engagement. It will harm the traction that you get.
Okay, but they're not going to shut your account down. No. So, but it's going to decrease the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly that. It will decrease the reach that you get, and you can build loyalty up in the way that works. And the way that I like to treat my following list is basically like my lead list. So I have a number of people that I follow, which are influencers. I love their content, their friends, their family, whatever.
That's a personal thing. That's
an element.
Business, yeah.
But the rest are all people that I'm looking to serve. I'm looking to help. And I will go and connect with a number of people. I think I follow something like 2,800 people, something like that. And the people that respond and engage back and respond to my message, I will continue to follow, and I'll continue to build a relationship up with. I'm not looking to disengage because they followed me back. I'm looking to build a relationship with them and turn them, I guess, into a friend almost, right? So looking to build a connection as you would as you go and meet at the same way that we met at a networking event, right?
And again, just taking a pause because this is so important, and this is the theme all the way through, that anything you do online needs to be led and have its base in what you would do offline. You know, I mean, I'm sure some of you are watching this and you're almost like in awe of some of the things that Chris is saying. But then I'm sure there's other people that are saying, you know what, this is actually so fucking simple. Because the truth is, you know, like most things, it actually is. And there is no rocket science to how to behave online. Yes, there's hacks, if you want to call it hacks, for for how to beat the algorithm or how to improve things. But at its heart, the fundamentals here are exactly what you would do offline. You know, you want to find people who are relevant to you. You want to put yourself in front of them. You want to connect with them. You want them to interact back with you. And from then on, you build a relationship and hopefully at some point close a sale. And that, you know, it's what you do offline. It's what you do online. It's what you do on the telephone. And I guess, you know, that's what's almost like so fascinatingly simple about this.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, I like to make things as simple as they sound. And I think you have all these gurus out there that talk about social and the way that ads will work in the background and how you need to spend thousands of pounds. The more money you spend, the better results you get. There is time and a space for that. Like, I haven't got a problem with ads. We run ads ourselves and we run them for companies and it works. But ultimately, organic traffic, being able to do this for free and only cost time in the way that you can systemize and automate, you're silly not to, because actually the authenticity that you build up from just having a one-on-one conversation with someone, whether that is over a message, whether it's done by an audio or whether it's done by a video, again, is irrelevant. It's still a relationship building exercise, the same way that you would when you flipping first meet your missus and you take her out on a date after meeting her on Tinder. Like, it's the same flipping aspect.
Or slipping into a DM
sliding into the DMs on Instagram,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's the same concepts. And it's just applying these simple concepts for a consistent amount of time to be able to get the results. But the number one thing that people do is if they don't get a result within the first month, after putting in like quite a bit of effort, they give up. But actually, tomorrow was probably going to be the day they hit the result. They just got to carry on doing it. So targeting...
So you're saying it's okay to be a stalker?
It's okay to be a stalker, 100%, mate, yeah, as long as you do it in a nice way.
It's a profitable strategy.
To stay through. But yeah, that following list we treat as a lead database, technically. And the aim of the game is to get a message back, I guess a follow back. We want them to follow us back so then they can see our content, because our content tells the story, which I'll go into in a bit more detail in a second. But we're looking ultimately to build a relationship in a way where we've got the lead generation machine in the background, which then actually translates and converts them into an email and a phone number on our database that we can then build via other marketing strategies, which we talk about at a much later stage. But being able to target and figure out where your competitors' accounts are, how your followers, well, new followers, will be currently sitting with them, and build that relationship, do the thing that they don't do. That'll enable you to bring more people to your account. So that's targeting via competitor accounts. The second way that you can do it, and there is a third way as well, actually, I'll cover that as well, is hashtags. So for those of you that aren't aware, a hashtag is basically a simple way for social media to categorize content. I always use the example, it's like a back of a non-fiction book. So you flip to the back and you've got the index on there, and all of the index basically tells you all different parts, all different pieces of content that you can find in that book. Hashtags work in the exact same way. So they're a way for us to be able to search for content that we're interested in. Now what it enables us to do is, now this is the slight difference to the way that we work, and I mentioned it with the SEO stuff before. A lot of people will, if they're talking about business, will use the hashtag business. Okay, they'll use the hashtag entrepreneur. And they'll expect that hashtag to do absolutely incredible things for them. They'll be seen in those hashtags. They'll be able to go viral and hit the Explorer page and get all this reach and all this traction. But actually, there's a post normally every 0.12 seconds in those hashtags. So if you've not got the volume and the activity, the likes, the comments, the shares, the saves, to be able to hang around in the top performing areas of a hashtag. Now, to add context to that, if you go and search a hashtag now, let's go and search entrepreneur for me. What you will see is a top performing section and a most recent section. Now, if you go into the most recent section,
it's just going to be going.
Yeah, you click on one of those photos, right? Just click on one, hold on it for 3 seconds, come off it, refresh the page. That photo will suddenly be halfway down the page. Refresh it again, that post is gone. So within 5 seconds of you posting, if you have not got the engagement to move into the top performing hashtags, there was no point you attaching it in the first place.
So what we need to be looking for then is hashtags that are almost like subsets of the entrepreneur.
Yes.
So don't go for hashtag entrepreneur because it's got 16 million people following it, or more. Go for hashtag Leeds entrepreneurs, if you're from Leeds,
exactly.
Hashtag travel entrepreneurs, and make it specific, and then have a fighting chance of being in with 20,000. Right.
Genius, exactly that. And we like to then go next level deeper. So we want to try and hang around in niched hashtags, like area and then the niche that you're in. What we then love to do is think about the problems we solve. Okay. So with personal trainers, as an example here, a lot of them will hashtag personal training, right? This is an example. Now, actually, personal training isn't the problem that they solve. Lots of people would attach personal training hashtags to their fitness stuff. The problem that they solve, it's a multiple of different things. It could be weight loss. It could be preparing for a bodybuilding competition. It could be nutrition issues. It could be IBS. It could be irritable bowel syndrome. All these different problems that they solve, which actually, if they're putting a bit of content out, which solves the actual problem that hashtag sits within, that content, when people then search for the issue that they've got on social media, which now is a thing, people naturally do this, your content, because you've structured it in a way and applied the right hashtag, will then show in that feed. So they'll be able to see it. So you'll get engagement, which you wouldn't have normally got. That's the application of the right hashtag, which is going to give you the reach that you're looking for.
So let's go back to Harley on this again, yeah. Where it's she's not got a product to sell. She's not okay. She's in a niche, which is a riding niche. But she's a youngster looking to build brand for the future. What should she be hashtagging? And she's not solving a problem. I guess she wants people to follow her because they have an interest in riding and eventing in her space. Is it just as simple as that? She should be.
Yeah. So I like to look at. I always like to think outside of the box a little bit. Because if you just go and attach what everyone else is attaching, you're not going to stand out. You're not going to be unique. So there will be, now I don't know the industry very, very well, so you'd have to go away and do research on it, but there will be community hashtags that certain brands use, certain, I guess, riding schools use, certain bits and pieces that lie on social media which will have a specific hashtag. So in the fitness world, Gymshark 66 was one. So Be a Visionary is another. Okay. So little niche hashtags which only the community members follow, because one of the things I love about Facebook, as an example, is the usage of groups. So being able to build a community. Now we treat hashtags in the same way. So as a brand or a business, you will have something in your niche where there will be a community style hashtag, something that's quite popular. It's normally the most popular business on social media for that niche. Now you need to go and do some research to find out what they are. But if you can then hang out in those communities and build relationships with people in there, and again, do secret number 3 that we're going to come on to. Once you then start to apply the strategies, you start to then become known in that community, known within that hashtag. And these social media platforms are so smart. As soon as you start engaging in these hashtags, they start pushing you up because you're doing the number one thing that every social media provider platform wants you to do, and that's spend time on their platform. So what you're thinking of, and I guess the reason why we got onto this conversation as I went off on a spiral and a tangent, is that you need to be thinking of the problems or the community hashtags where your target market, your audience, your desired outcome currently hang out. And what you basically do is you go and do, now I have a bit of a slightly different opinion on how you do this. Top influencers out there, the gurus that are out there will say you need to go and engage in the top performing content. So the top 9 photos, go comment on the top 9, engage, follow them, like them, build relationships with them. Now, I don't like to do that because actually those accounts get that much engagement.
Because there's too many people in that space.
Yeah. The reason we do all of this activity is to get our profile showing up on the user's account on their phone. So they click on and we get their attention. We actually get the space and the time we need to convince them that we're an account that they need to follow. Okay. So what we do is we go into the most recent. There's 2 reasons why we do that. One, because they're normally a smaller account, so the notification is going to mean something to them. And 2, because they're bloody online. So if you're going instantly on there as they've posted into a hashtag where there's a problem that you can solve, you can hit that within the first minute, 2 minutes of it going online and immediately give them the answer. How flipping good is that going to feel straight away to them? The fact that someone's reached out, connected with them, solved the issue they've got, given them some advice, given them some content, got a relationship going. Like that is going to be a lot more powerful than what you're currently doing in the top performing hashtags with your activity. So what we like to talk about is efficiency and use of time. Now that is a much better and a much more efficient way for any user on Instagram to use their time. It's a much better way to be able to get your account and actually be able to target the people that are actually going to be able to benefit from the product or service that you deliver. So that's the second step there, is targeting the right audience and being able to know where to find them. Now,
just hold that thought for a second, because I just want to ask some of you guys at home, because I'm looking in the comments section down here, and JP, good friend of mine, JP de Villiers is watching, and if any of you guys are looking to get inspiration and motivation from a real elite athlete, top level thinker, then you need to check JP out. But JP, obviously you've put a few comments on here, and you've already got some good active social profiles on Insta, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, etc. But obviously, I'm taking note of your comments saying that you're enjoying this and it's cracking. Can you tell us some specific things that as someone who's already pretty experienced in this field that you've learned and some takeaways for you, or maybe you've got some specific questions about your profile or your problem that we can put Chris on the spot now with. I mean, obviously we've talked a bit about my stuff. And I'm trying to get some brownie points by helping Harley out with her Instagram profile as well. But we want to help you guys at home, specifically people in business who are looking to ultimately monetize this. Because as we said from the beginning, this isn't about vanity. This isn't about being an influencer with followers that are never going to pay you a penny. We want you guys to get paid. Oh, well, JP is saying the keyword thing was massive.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Great to see it will help. Yeah, it will really help people find you on social, which will definitely push you up the rankings a lot more.
Perfect. Cool. So what keywords are good for your space? I mean, what does your profile say at the moment, and what are you already thinking about changing that to? So JP's got over 20,000 followers, but only gets approximately 100 likes. I don't understand this. And yeah, actually, but this is JP and I had lunch 5 or 6 weeks ago, and this is something we spoke about, that in the kind of month or so preceding that. So let's say from 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, and anyone else I've spoken to about this, during that time, we felt engagement has fallen off a cliff. Yeah. I mean, is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, hashtags have become really important for that. So there's 2 things that you can do to help your engagement. That's find engagement groups, so like-minded people that are all looking to get their message heard further. So we have a couple of them that we work in. That helps get the instant traction.
Are they like legit things insofar as is there any benefit to them other than you're all just helping each other out?
There's a huge benefit to them because you may have heard on Instagram, on any social media platform, the first 1 to 2 hours are the most important. Now, the reason that is because when you post, especially on Instagram, this is an Instagram stat, it will go, and this kind of ties in with the time that you post as well, it will go only to 8% of your following. Yeah. Okay, so immediately when you post, you have a top 8% of the fans that currently like your content. Now, what that basically does is, it's basically saying, Instagram is asking the question, is this content what the top performing and the top interested people in your profile, are they actually going to enjoy it? Are they commenting on it? Are they liking? Are they engaging in it? Now, if you don't get any engagement right at the beginning, then what it basically does is it cuts it off. So you'll have, and you'll see it on your profile, you'll have posts that do really, really well. They get like hundreds and hundreds of likes and 40, 50 comments. And then you'll have some that just don't go anywhere, like they get no traction whatsoever. And then you always ask the question, why? It's because of the immediate interaction that you get.
So that immediate interaction is key.
Immediate interaction, 100%.
Tell me, the posts that don't do, because I know some people that when they have posts that don't do well, they take them down later on because psychologically they don't want poor likes along with good likes. Is that bollocks?
It's absolute bollocks. Yeah. It's now again depends what content it is, because people post for content's sake. So if you're actually putting a piece of content out with a desired outcome every time, an actual message you're looking to deliver, a bit of education or a bit of documentation, whatever it is, if you're looking to actually get an outcome from that bit of content, which you should be doing in every piece that you put out, then it doesn't matter how many likes or comments it gets straight away. You want it to get the big immediate traction for it to go viral, because the more interaction you get within that first 1 to 2 hour period, the more Instagram likes it and will then open it up to more people, and will then open it up to the hashtags that you attached as well. Like, it always a big cycle. But ultimately, like, the more your content is seen, and if it's delivering a message which is actually valuable and actually going to help people, then what they'll then find is, and we do it now, you'll follow someone and you don't just look at their latest bit of content, you scroll through. You go and have a quick look at what they've been talking about. And they'll hit the bit and the thing is, what always happens, if you go and delete one, it will be that bit of content that you deleted that would have made the difference. That would have made the thing that would actually then turn them into the customer. So your content needs to stay on there. People are really, really afraid to leave certain bits of content out there. However,
and if you want to wind your mates up, you go onto a girl's account and you go really deep. I mean, like really, really deep, and you press a couple of likes on that. Yeah, and then she knows he's been stalking her.
Yeah, and like I say, content is so key. It's obviously 60% of the platform, right? Now, the other 40%...
When you say the content, as in the actual specific content
itself?
Yeah,
the actual content itself is massive. Like, if it's not about putting out volumes of content, like just pointless crap. It's about having a desired outcome every time.
And I know we're going off a bit of tangents, but I'm thinking of so much stuff when you're talking. You're giving out some real gold here. I mean, how many posts a day, or should you do one post a day? Should you miss a day? Is there a magic number?
No, there actually isn't. So a lot of people will say the more you post, the better. Now, if you're posting good quality content, now again, it's not your decision on what's good quality and what isn't, but if you're posting with a desired outcome every single time, knowing that you're putting it out there to deliver a message, then there's an argument to say you want to post as much as you can. However, what I've found is that each profile, and we've run loads of different accounts now, we've had a lot of different accounts come through our education stuff and our agency, and different accounts get different traction depending on the volume that they post. So for me, I've realised that I went to post every single day. I post 3 times a day. I post once every week. And actually, my sweet spot for my audience, just my audience specifically, is once every couple of days. And then I overload in story. And story is something that I'll talk about in the second section of today anyway. Overload in story, my volume of content goes in my stories. My content posts, I do once every couple of days. Now, try it, test it.
When you say your sweet spot as well, do you find that your sweet spot changes from time to time? So this is your current sweet spot, but maybe in a month or two's time, your interaction's tailing off, and you're gonna start
experimenting.
100%. Everything is trial trial and error. Some things work, some things don't. When it doesn't work, look to change it. Make a change. Do it slightly in a different way. And there's lots of different strategies you can apply for content.
What's your take on Gary V's comment that, I forget the exact number, but he says, what you should all be doing is putting out, 120 pieces of content a day?
Yeah, I agree. Now, where you put that content is a better question.
Okay.
Because different pieces of content will perform better on different platforms. So Instagram, right now, timeline posting, because they're trying to push as much ad spend, so your main feed, are trying to push that much ad space into the actual feed right now. If you're not spending money, your actual post, unless you're getting good engagement through, isn't going to get the traction that you're looking for. Where the time should be spent is in story. Because once you can actually build up people that are clicking on your stories, it doesn't matter how often you post, because your timeline just keeps appearing. Your logo, your profile photo keeps appearing up there with the red ring saying, I've got a new bit of action day today. And people are actually happy with volume on there. So we spend a lot of time on story mode, and I'll go into talk about them.
And by volume, I guess you're saying quantity over quality.
Yeah.
I mean,
documentation.
Not necessarily quantity over quality, but the quantity is the important thing as opposed to the quality. And I guess I always try and teach you guys from my experience and my mistakes, if you like. I probably only got into stories a year ago, but certainly less than 18 months ago, because I used to look at it and think, what is the fucking point in posting something that's going to disappear in 24 hours' time? And to be honest, I didn't even really understand what a story was. And if you look at them now, I get more interaction on my stories than I do on my main feed. And yes, I guess some days I have more posted than other days. But I guess the real thing about your stories is you don't need to worry about it. I guess also you probably shouldn't be overthinking any of this. You should just be getting out there and doing it. But it's much easier to start to overthink what you do on your main feed, because obviously that's your window dressing, that's your tarted up photo with all your special copy and hashtags and stuff underneath. But stories themselves, it's just like, that bun, that this, it could be work, it could be pleasure, it could be whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes into the second part really. I know we've already gone on and spoken about it anyway. But stories, for those of you that want to know how to do them, you may not have a clue right now, go onto your homepage on Instagram, top left-hand corner, you'll see a camera. Select that camera, and it's at that point you then need to choose whether you're going to do a photo or a video. You can record them live, take the photo, hold down to record the video. If you want a trick that not a lot of people actually know, you don't actually have to hold down the actual to record the video. Slide across to the right hand side, there's something called hands-free. Click hands-free, and you only have to touch it once, it then records the whole video for you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a nice little trick.
I learned
for you
that on
there.
WhatsApp voice notes the other day as well.
Works really, really nicely. Those little tips and tricks are things that people don't know. So hands-free is a great way to record video. You can also upload content onto your story mode as well. So anything that you've taken yesterday or the day.
What about doing a Louis Vuitton filter?
Louis Vuitton filter, I know. Filters are nice there, mate. They work, mate. They work.
I don't even know how to do that. I see all the girls doing it. I managed to put some bunny ears on the other day.
To be fair, that takes it to a whole new level with me with the fancy shit, mate. I can't really pull off glitter these days, but yeah, the most important things with stories is making people engage on them. So at the top, once you've chosen your photo or video, tap the screen, you can add some text. So add some context to what it is that you're actually adding that bit of content for. Don't make it pointless. Actually give people an aim to look at that content. Tell them what it is that you're doing. Give them a tip or some sort. And then add what we call a sticker. So top right hand side of the page, when you go on to, once you've taken your photo or your video, you'll see like an emoji. Which is a sticker emoji. Click onto that and it'll give you loads of different options to be able to generate engagement.
Are you saying you should be putting a sticker on every one?
Every one. So the three that we go through.
Because Instagram likes it and that gives you more credit.
You can imagine, right? As a business owner, you want people to use the features, the products, the services that you deliver, right? So when they're there, make bloody use of them. Actually use the things what they're there for. So we will always apply a hashtag, a location on every single post, and then if someone's in there with us, so like we've obviously been spending a couple of days together here at the NAC.
No, we're not sleeping together, by the way. We've got our own bedrooms.
Definitely not. No. But yeah, so then you tag people in as well. So tag people in, engage, use their audience because they'll probably share it in there as well.
And again, I guess I keep repeating myself, but every single use of a feature gives you a tick.
Gives you a tick, yeah, exactly that. So, I wouldn't go and overload and just spam your whole story with every single sticker possible, but hashtags and location every single time because they give you expanded reach.
And what about things like countdowns and ask me a question and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so questions work really well. Polls are a brilliant way, and I talk about polls which we'll move on to in a second anyway, because they link really nicely into the lead gen. But polls give you clarity. They give you the ability, and people don't like asking yes or no questions in the sales world of today. However, what I use them for is to get clarity on what my audience wants. Okay. So I'll give them the option. Would you like content A or content B? Content A in the text will then be how to make money on Instagram. Option B will be how to grow your account on Instagram. Okay. And then my post, whatever I put up there, will be whatever gets the most votes. And then what my next story will be is, well, make sure that you're online at 8 o'clock because it's going live at 8 o'clock. And then bang, I put out a bit of content that I know people want because they've asked for it. And then it gets the engagement straight away because people know when it's going live. So it's those little bits and pieces that you regularly use, and it's what we talk about all the time in the Academy. It's basically understanding the right times to use certain features. And stories now give you the best opportunity to tell your story, pardon the pun, but a huge volume, so it's your face everywhere. It's your brand everywhere. It's your message being delivered over and over again. And actually, the more that you do it, all you've got to do, if you want to be successful on Instagram or social media, is look what the top performing people are doing. There's a reason a Grant Cardone puts out 40 different pieces of story content a day, and only posts once or twice or 3 times at a max a day on his feed. Like, you can get out such huge masses of volumes of content in story. Gary Vaynerchuk the same, 30 or 40 pieces a day. Ty Lopez, all the big influencers, like even Tony Robbins, who has a team that obviously sits there and does it for him. They use story for a reason. They tell their story behind it.
Obviously, I know this is an Instagram conversation, but is that same logic applying to Facebook and Facebook stories?
Instagram obviously took the story idea from Snapchat. So they buried Snapchat technically. They're still going, but they're not as effective as they were. Now Facebook have obviously taken that feature and now applied it because they purchased Instagram. They own the IP, they own everything to be able to apply it. Facebook story, although works, it's not going to get the level of engagement that Instagram's going to get you. So I would connect Instagram and Facebook, but actually I wouldn't focus on putting out unique Facebook story content. I'd basically put it on Instagram and then let it automatically sync over to Facebook, because you'll notice it. Your views will be like 4 or 5 on your Facebook stories, but actually on your Instagram there may be a couple of hundred. Yeah. So there's a good opportunity there if you're putting out huge volumes. So the second step there really is the power of content, is what we've talked about there. And actually how you should be focusing your time on the most beneficial things and the things that are going to give you the best reward. And stories are a really, really powerful way, the hottest thing right now on Instagram, for you to be able to deliver a message on a high volume basis. And the thing that we touched upon nicely, which moves into the third part, and that's the communication method. Because like, you can put out as much content as you want. You can choose your niche, you can target the right audience, and you can get them following you, and you can deliver a message. But ultimately, if you're then not going to be able to take them and actually put them to any use or any benefit, then there's no point in you wasting your time doing it. So what we then like to tie it all up with is actually how we then generate results. And that is by the link that sits within Instagram that you use. So Instagram only gives you access, unless you have 10,000 followers or more, the ability to only give you one link. Now you can use sites, and if you want to have a look at this, we can put this in the notes anyway, like a site called Linktree, for instance, right? Where you can
one link where on your
profile.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we,
but if you have more than 10,000, you get more than one.
So you can then get swipe up in story. So it gives you the ability to add more links in.
Just as a question for my own benefit, I guess, are there any other higher differentials, as in, so 10,000 gets you that stuff, you don't get anything for 50,000, 100,000? Right?
Yeah, just 10,000 gives you the swipe up function. And actually, I don't really use swipe up. I use polls in a much better way. So a poll is basically the way for you to ask a question. And what I like to do is if I've got a particular training that I'm offering, like a free webinar or a free online training, the best way to clarify if someone's a follower or a lead is to ask, I'm about to run a free training next week, it's at 8 o'clock on Thursday, who'd be interested in joining? All the people that say yes, you treat as a hot lead. You then direct message them and go, hey, look, thanks for voting yes, here's the link, let me know once you've downloaded.
But I guess I would guess there's other uses for swipe up, aren't there? Like I know I'll use swipe up on mine for if I've just launched a YouTube video and I'll put
divert in traffic, right?
Swipe up for that. Yeah, exactly.
So swipe up is a way for you to divert traffic using the URL, and it is useful. I do use them. I just have different kind of focuses now in terms of the way, because I try to keep everything very, very streamlined. I find that my process is from a sales perspective, and taking my follower on a journey through to customer works when there's only real one way for them to go. Okay. So my link normally remains the same. It's like a free online training. It's the start to what we call, my old term was a funnel. It's now what we like to call the flywheel. It's a change in marketing method. So the funnel was born from, you put someone into the top of the funnel. The aim is to put loads of people to the top of that funnel, with then a small number of them dropping out of the bottom. The reason why I say flywheel is because the issue you have with funnels is that once they drop out the bottom, nothing then happens. So you're then actually not serving your customer once they've been through your sales process. So we like flywheel because actually the flywheel embodies, in the center of that wheel is your customers. So what actually happens is, and we'll draw that on here actually for you. So with a funnel, if I can get the pen because I'm up here. With a funnel, you have that sort of shape. Yeah. Okay, so people then drop down the bottom here. So once they have that, what happens to these people? Well, technically you lose them. Like nothing happens. With the flywheel, you embody and your customers sit here. So everything that you do is centered around your customers. Now, forgive my poor diagram. But this is an embody of basically of a flywheel. And what you have here is your marketing, your sales, and then what we kind of call operations or customer services, right?
I'm going to do this as a new diagram, which is like a highly profitable toilet seat.
Yeah, I like it. It works quite nicely. That's just to be fair, that's just a polite way of you saying my drawing's toilet, isn't it, to be fair? But what it basically means is that at any point that someone joins your funnel or your business or your product or your services, it doesn't matter what happens. Because ultimately, you're going to continuously market to them, you're going to continuously close them, and you're going to continuously serve them with operations, and it's a consistent cycle. So what we like to do with Instagram is basically have one clear route into the center of that flywheel.
Okay.
And that is, when we first connect with them, we then look to build a relationship straight away. So send them a message, introduce yourself. Now, as humans, we like to talk about one thing more than anything else, and that's ourselves. So rather than introducing who you are and what you do, just get them talking about themselves. If you want the response, get them to say to you what it is that they do, what they're interested in, and whereabouts they're based, right? 3 common questions. Don't look to sell them anything. You sell them a sales message, you've lost. As soon as you look to sell on Instagram, on any social media platform, you lose.
And are we using the same logic here if we're profile building, just to brand build without something specific in place? So if you're just looking to grow a profile because you're a model, or we go back to Harley and her horses, she should connect with these people and interact. I mean, like I said, she's got nothing to sell, so she's not going to get sales on them. But even though she's not selling anything, she should just talk
same way,
like she would if she was down the yard.
100%, yeah, 100%, because they've got the same interests. Like, you've not connected with them unless they're following a certain hashtag or a competitor or a similar account to what yours is. So you've got a similar interest. And actually, if you've got no real kind of method or kind of motive behind your message, and you're just looking to build a relationship, your content then does the kind of relationship building also at the same time, because the more that you communicate, the more you're telling Instagram that they're interested in you, you're interested in them, so your content then appears in their timeline. So
and I'm going to steal Chris's analogy, but obviously I'm crediting him for it, so it's okay to do that. But one of the things I was saying to you earlier is that everything you're probably listening to now, you're thinking, well, this is so simple because this is what I do in offline relationships as well. And what we're talking about now with the whole connection point of connecting with somebody, send them a message to tell them about you. Well, not to tell them about you because we're saying they want to talk about themselves, but to ask them about them and interact between the two of you is exactly. We were saying this last night at dinner, what you would do at a networking event or a cocktail party or whatever. Would you walk up to somebody with bump shoulders, look at them and walk off again? Well, no, you wouldn't. A, because you're going to look fucking weird, and B, because you're going to get no outcome and no interaction from that. And that is effectively what everybody is doing in today's world. In the online platform. Whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You're following or you're being followed, and then you're just leaving it at that. This is all about how would you interact normally as a human, and then just systemize that on an online basis.
Yeah, 100%. No, it completely works, and I'm just capturing content for myself because I wouldn't be doing my job properly if I didn't.
I was thinking the same thing, but I've run out of telephones. What you guys can't see behind the scenes is we've got 2 laptops, 2 telephones, 3 cameras, a cameraman, a couple of microphones, and we still haven't got enough technology.
It works nicely, but yeah, what we were saying is basically trying to keep things as simple as possible. So when you have a new connection, introduce yourself, look to build a relationship with them. And then once you have an opportunity where they've mentioned how you can help them. So this is just from a business perspective, right? Yeah. This isn't for your daughter who's looking to build a brand up. This is just business. This is how to monetize. So what you basically do is you ask questions which gets them talking about themselves, but ultimately keeps them in a right direction. And we have set processes that we teach in a lot more detail on this. But actually trying to get and hone in on the problem, the thing that you're trying to solve, the problem that you can solve as a business. Because what you then do is you invite them to a way of which you can actually give them advice on that problem for free. So you remember me saying at the beginning, the ultimate aim for social media as users, as business people, as entrepreneurs, is to basically gain the email address and the phone number.
Yeah.
Right? So then we can market in several different ways. The more times that you can market to people, the more times that you can build your touch points, the better opportunity you have to sell and close. So what we look to do is have embodied within that link, which is why I only have one link ever, and it's one direction only to a free online training. Now this link could be anything. It could be a 10% discount code. It could be a link to an ebook. It could be an online course that you're looking to run for free. It could be a ticket to a free event. It could be a one-to-one introductory call to you, whatever it is. Like, it could be so many different things, but it's a way for you to add another layer of which you can show how much value you can give to that person. So what you look to do is have that one link. You ask the questions, you build the relationship to a point where you can go, look, the reason why I've connected with you is, one, is to get to know who you are, but actually because I can see that you're interested in the same things that I am, because you just told me that you are, and actually I feel that I've got something which I'm not looking to sell to you. I'm not looking to sell you anything. I'm looking to try and help you where I can. Yeah. So it's totally free. If you want, I'll send you the link. And what you then do is you don't just send them the link, you wait for them to come back to you and say, yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Then you send the link, because it's an added message, an added level of engagement. And also, they're 99% more likely to download it if they ask for it.
How important are messages as far as the algorithm for interaction is concerned?
They're not as much as a comment or a comment, as for an example. They're probably the equivalent. To be fair, they're probably not even as equivalent to a like. Like, they're not huge because they're not related to content. So your content engagement is where the most important thing comes in with algorithm building. But what it enables it to do is that you're building the relationship, you're making that relationship stronger. So the more that you talk to someone, the more likely it is they're going to search for you anyway. And then the search part of it all is probably the most important out of everything. Like, the time that they spend on your profile is actually what makes the biggest difference now. You will see like them hiding likes now on profiles, like the vanity metrics being hidden. Comments will always be there, but actually the time that's spent looking at your content is ultimately what's going to drive the algorithm to start showing it to more people.
When you say looking at your content, you mean being sat on your main feed?
So sitting on the actual content piece itself. Okay. So if you put a video out there, and it's an Instagram TV video, for instance, 15 minutes, but people are only watching it for 30 seconds. My Instagram's going to look at it and go, well, I don't care how long it is. It's a shit bit of content because no one's watching it. However, if you have a photo which has got a caption which is 2,000 characters long, and people, although it's only a photo, are then scrolling down, reading the caption, spending time on it, they're going to go, well, actually, they have liked on it, they have spent some time on it, so it obviously means that it's working. Let's show it to more people.
And I guess just as a slight aside here, and this touches on what we spoke about earlier, we were talking about how important it is to use all the different features of Instagram. I mean, we hadn't mentioned IGTV up until then, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in terms of going live like we are doing now, or using IGTV, or it's important to use as many of these features as possible, because every one of them is a tick in the box.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, use the platforms to what they're used for, what they're there for, really. So if they give you the opportunity to go live, trial it, test how it works, because going live may not be your forte. Fixed content may be your forte, or actually it could be the other way around. So trial and test, see what works, and then just go all in on what works. Like, what works for you may not work for me. Like, longer form video may work really, really well for you, but I could be shit on video. Like, so I don't do video.
You're doing great.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just working out what works for you, and then what you feel comfortable with as well. Because let's be honest, we're creatures of habit. Like, if we don't feel comfortable doing something, we'll just find a way not to do it. So be comfortable, stay focused. And actually, if you follow those 3 things, well, I guess 5 things that I've technically covered there, is like, identify your niche, be known for something, find where your target market are, find who they're following, the hashtags that they're looking at, use the features on Instagram. So post as much as you can of story content, use the features within stories. Focus on building relationships so you can put as many people into the flywheel as possible. And then the trick, I guess, then is, how do you do that spending as little time as possible? Now, because of the length of time, I've probably not got time to cover all the different systems, but I'll give you a list of a couple that you can probably look into in the way
we'll have to come back for round 2 in a few weeks' time, won't we?
Definitely will. But you can use for posting content, like you can look at scheduling software. You can look at hiring a virtual assistant to help actually carry out some of the activity for you. You can looking at different reporting to be able to focus on what works and get that reporting dropping in your inbox. You can look at account growth software. People use that these days as well. We don't. We do it manually, but you can actually get that in there as well.
Just on that, I think that's probably an important tip for everyone at home. I'm actually distracted by the fact that I've been told by Chris Silverwood that my haircut has taken 3 stones off me. I think it's both my haircut and my 8 days in a Portuguese juice detox camp, but I'll take it either way. away. But no, Chris just mentioned bots and automation. And again, I don't know how deep he's going to go into it, but yes, the key here is to implement all of the things that Chris has told you, but by doing it on scale and as quickly and as quantified and as cheaply as possible. One thing people automatically default to, and a lot of these cheap online services are all about the bots. And and it might work for a day, it might work for a week, it might work for a year, but at some point during that time, you will get caught by Instagram, and you will get your account locked down and potentially shut down, and then all the graft that you've put in is out the window and down the toilet. So I guess with any hack or with any aspect of business or life, it's about finding effective ethical shortcuts, because these black arts are getting easier and easier and easier to find. And I hear stories week after week of people losing their social accounts, and obviously what we're trying to do here is create I guess key components of your business, super important online accounts. So to have done all this and then to lose it overnight because of cheats, it's a catastrophe.
Yeah, it is. Now it's literally the point. You've covered my point beautifully there. It's like it's scripted and you've got it written down there. But ultimately, like Instagram now knows, like when you're trying to, it's what we call the API. So when you're logging in through third-party software, it sends a signal. And it's done via proxies and IP addresses. It uses the combination of them to actually locate the fact that you are not where you're saying you are. And because you're connecting on one device and then trying to connect on another, it then basically says, nope, not possible, cuts it off. And it has a way of tagging the software that you're using, so it will then temporarily block you. I know this because I used to use it. I'm always transparent about it. And we still test it. So we have dummy accounts, well, not dummy accounts, I guess. They're kind of accounts. Like I have an Airbnb account as an example where we've tested this recently, just to test to see how it works and basically whether it's still blocking what we expect it to do. And it does. Literally, as soon as you log in using multiple different automation softwares, it cuts it off. It stops the account dead. And it's just no point doing it. And so now there are so many strategies that you can do, and it all evolves around time and actually being consistent on it. But I'm not being funny. Like if your business isn't on social media these days, I think it was Bill Gates that said it literally, I think about a year ago, that in like 5 to 10 years time, your business just will not exist. It's such a powerful way to market now. There's so much attention on it that the thing is, if you're not using it, one of your competitors will be, and they'll be reaping the rewards of doing so. So not doing it is actually worse than doing it crap.
And saying you don't have time for it is crazy when you think about all the other things within your business that you say you haven't got time for, but find that time because it's delegated to somebody else in the business or to your assistant or etc. And I guess what we'll come on to at the end is how Chris can actually help outsource this for you if that is something that you're looking to do.
Yeah, 100%. Because really. We're in a game now where business is all about relationships. It's all about the connections that you make. So use social media for good and actually use it to connect with good quality people that are interested in what you're talking to. And again, I say this all the time to close on a lot of talks that I do. As soon as you look to sell, you lose. So keep away from the traditional spammy sales messages, the looking to close people. You go in it with a mentality of serving and helping them. What you enable yourself to do is build up a brand where people are actually loyal to what it is that you do. So as soon as you do have a product or service you make people aware of, because you've marketed in a very different way to what everyone else is doing, and you're putting them down a track which is actually helping them and delivering them results for free, imagine what their mindset will be when actually you offer them a product or service which they find via an alternative method, which is going to give them even better results. They're going to be 99 more likely to buy.
But well, for me, that's what's so powerful about transparent content. I mean, again, just to contextualise this, we're in a hotel room in Birmingham because we've been at the first day of a 2-day conference here, and the first day today is all speakers who are theoretically giving educational content and then selling off the back of it at the end. But what they really are complete sales pitches. You sit through an hour of, and these are fantastic sales pitches to buy them. I mean these guys can really work the room. Can really sell from the stage. But you don't actually learn anything during that hour other than get sucked in and maybe be ready to run to the back of your room with your credit card. But what But I hope, I try and develop trust with you guys, and I would never bring you somebody that I either don't believe in or don't use myself, etc. I think, what Chris has been very transparent about here, and what I can completely vouch for, is all of the tricks, I don't want to use the word tricks, but all of the techniques that we've discussed today are everything he does within his business. There's been nothing held back here. There's no rocket science. There's no secret hacks. It's following a simple process. But if you're going to get sold by him or outsource, what Chris has got, his secret sauce, if you like, is he has found the way to systemize this and do it as quickly and as cheaply as possible. Achieving maximum results for minimum effort, which is probably something that you guys can't do. Yes, you can do everything he's doing, but you'll be doing it from home, and you will be running out of time. You'll probably be able to do it. I'm saying you'll be able to do it as good as you, but it might take you 10 hours, whereas Chris has got it down to a system that can take 10 minutes. So I can completely vouch for the 100% legitimacy and authenticity of every one of these things. But we talk about being salesy. What Chris can sell you is a system, and he will just do it quicker and cheaper than you guys can do. But every single thing he's taught you today is the key techniques of his business, and it all works, I assure you.
100%, yeah. And I mean, leading on to that,
you can pat me on the back and
pay me for that later. I couldn't have done that any better. So I'm going to bring you along with me everywhere that I go. You can do that for Thursday when I'm speaking at Expert Empires. But so I mean, if people want any more information, I'm very transparent. You ask me a message on Instagram, I'm always going to answer.
What's your handles? You want to give out your handles?
We'll put it in the comments as well. So it's Chris Taylor Ideal. So my business name is The Ideal Collective, which is like the collective group of companies that we manage underneath Instant Impact. So Chris Taylor Ideal is the name. Go drop me a follow, go drop me a message, and I always respond. So if there's any questions that you've got that need answering.
Are you on YouTube?
I'm not currently, launching in January.
Cool.
So that will all come through.
So this video, obviously, we're watching it live on Facebook, and we're recording it at home. I guess we'll put some snippets of this on IGTV. But for those guys of you who don't follow me, I'm on Instagram at @TheMattHaycox. That's TheMattHaycox. On Facebook at Matt Haycox Funding Guru. But please go over to my YouTube channel as well, because this will all be kind of top and tail and edited and cleaned up. And I hope this is going to be the first of many masterclasses we do. So I really like to hear the comments from you guys, whether it's comments down below or whether it's DMs, private messages, emails, etc. to me. Tell me what we do good. Tell me what I don't do so good. And I'm sure you'd like to hear more from Chris and from other experts that I can bring in that I do use on a day-to-day basis, or that I can work with and vouch. So please follow me. Please tell your mates. Please press share. Please subscribe, etc. And that's about it. But I was just about to think we had a question or a comment, but I think it's a joke. But is there anything else we need to say, or should we wrap it up at that?
All good for me, mate. It's all
cool.
Good for you.
No, it's been fantastic, and obviously it's been good to see some of the comments and give some people some real world actionable stuff. So thanks a lot for being here, buddy. And like I say, guys, share it, subscribe, and tell me what other kind of experts that you want on the channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again soon.
See you all soon.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Pleasure.
Thank you.